Hey guys, it's Timothy, and today I thought I'd take you through a bit of my process when it comes to planning routes for summiting mountains. So I usually start in Google Earth. Now, I generally plan the approach out first. This is pretty simple. In this case, we're just following, and this is very rough by the way, we're just following a trail along the, what's that one called again? That would be Ranger Creek. So we're just following the Ranger Creek Trail. And in this case, I've made a map based on the Bighorn Backcountry map by the government. Actually, a decent map. And here I've got the tentative route to Lost Guide Lake, which is the base camp for this summit. You can see this is all on marked trails. Ranger Creek Trail, and then I guess this would be Lost Guide Trail. I've got the Can Topo map overlaid here. So you can see it's not too bad. The creek's a little steeper here, but the part along Ranger Creek is super easy. Turn on the map layer again. There we go. So that's the first part. You plan the approach to base camp. So that would be Lost Guide Lake. Yeah, you can see there's a couple pictures of it, so people have been there. That's a good sign. And then the fun stuff. So now we get to plan the route to the summit. And the summit I'm eyeing up is right here, Lost Guide Peak, which is 3,002 meters tall, making it my first summit over 3,000 meters. Pretty cool. And the difficulty here is you can't see it because my face is in the way. But this imagery on Google was taken in 2003, and 2003 imagery isn't really that good. So normally I'd plan out some routes on Google Earth like I've done here, just based on this imagery for a first draft, but this kind of sucks. So the next thing I generally do is go to Spectacular Mountains by a guy named Cornelius. This is great. Lots of trip reports. And when I say lots, I mean lots. Love this guy. Then Vern's website, Exploration. He's actually been to Lost Guide Peak, but that's via a southern route, and I'm going from the north. So useful, but not for this trip. I mean, this is beautiful. Making me reconsider the whole northern approach, but it's a lot shorter. Well, maybe not a whole lot, but it is definitely shorter, which is good. Then my third trip report place that I check is Peakery, and there are no summits reported on Lost Guide Peak yet, which is rather unfortunate. So if there's no trip report for the route I'm taking on Spectacular Mountains, Exploration, or Peakery, I go to the ArcGIS Community Map of Canada because they have got some very nice imagery. If you go to base map up here and click imagery or imagery hybrid, you can see that this imagery, it's not great just because of the harsh shadows, but if we compare it to the Google imagery, the resolution is much better and the coloration is way more accurate. Probably because it's taken like 15 years later than the Google imagery. But from here, I can sort of get a sense of the actual terrain, whereas with the Google imagery, it's just not very useful. So I can look at this ridgeline and see, this here looks ascendable. I might have to fight my way through the cliffs here, but the rest of this is super solid cliff climbing. Oh, sorry, not cliff, ridgeline. It's like really good actually. And then it kind of gets a bit messy over here. The ridgeline actually just goes here. So you follow that, and you can see just tucked away in the shadow, there's a bit of a cliff band. Not great. You're going to have to cut underneath it and come out the backside. And it looks like there's a bunch of cliffs here too. So a little sketchy. Just going to follow the ridge there, hopefully. And then here's the summit. So that's like a good way to get a rough draft. Just check the satellite imagery. And from that, I develop a line in Google Earth, which is this one, right here, which is pretty good. So there's about a 700 meter approach to the base here. This isn't exact, by the way. I'm probably going to follow a trail down here and then take this drainage. And then you can see from Google Earth the elevation profile, which is pretty useful. So 800-ish meters of elevation gain, about 3 kilometers total. That's very doable. And then I plot some alternate routes and just check if those are at all viable. This is the sort of best one. Google Earth can be a pain sometimes. There we go. This one's 3.4 kilometers with an elevation gain of about 800 meters. Not great though, because it goes through some really nasty cliffs. They're climbable, but they're just a lot more dangerous than this ridge walk, and I don't need that in my life. So now I've got this route planned. I'm going to go learn what to expect from it. So I usually go to Fat Map, and you can see here with the hill shading approximately how steep it is, and of course the ridgeline is the least steep part here. This is our ascent route. So if I take this drainage, let me turn off the overlay for a second. Here we are. Fat Map also has really nice imagery usually. So you can see the lake here. Plan to take the trail, follow this drainage, then ascend the edge of the ridgeline here. Yeah, not too steep, that's alright. And then just walk the ridgeline whenever possible. Here's the little cliff that we saw might pose a problem on the Archegos map. So probably gonna go this side of that and then struggle with this. Fun stuff. But yeah. And if you look at this map, this route looks okay, but once you get up here, it is not super viable, and you have to traverse all this, which just adds distance and suckiness. So from that we can see this is probably a good route. Now I go looking for pictures of it, and there actually aren't very many of those. I could find one picture that shows this route at all effectively from Alyssa Lord on Google Earth. You can't really see it, but it's there. That's a terrible reflection. I'll put the picture up on screen. But basically confirms what this says, just in higher resolution. These little cliffs down here will be a bit of a pain, but they can probably be gone around fairly easily. And then there is another notch right here that we have to just stay left of. And the only thing you can see in this picture is up to this subsummit, because it blocks the view of the rest of the ridge walk. But yeah, definitely around to the left is the strategy there. And with that, that's the route planned. Now I can go back to Google Earth and make a final plan. So we'll adjust this line. And of course, if we get out there and this looks absolutely awful, plans can change, and very well might. Yeah, that's not bad. 3.25 kilometers, 872 meters gain, 113 loss. Maximum slope, 58.5%. That's pretty good. By good, I mean steep. Average 33%. Yeah, sounds about right. And there it is. That's the final draft route. And most of this is pretty easy to follow, just mentally. But I will put points in my inReach for stuff like turning off the trail at the corner here and ascending the ridgeline here. Possibly here or over here, depending. And then from there, I just follow my nose once I'm out there. And yeah, that's how I plan a route to the summit of a mountain.